I'm so excited. I actually get to sing in Frozen 2.
She knows something's missing and she needs to understand why she is who she is. Why does she have these powers? Why is she being called?
It's called Do the Next Right Thing, and that's actually a mantra that I have with my life when I am anxiety riddled or get depressed. The only thing you can do is the next right thing. And it's baby steps.
It's in a way kind of like Kristoff's let it go moment, because he's got these feelings for Anna. He's sort of a dude. He doesn't really express himself that often. And so in a sort of fantasy sequence, Sven speaks to him actually and invites him to express his feelings, and Kristoff kind of lets his hair down and releases his emotions in this brilliant sort of song in the style of an 80s ballad.
What is her purpose in life? And deep down, she knows she needs to find those answers. So Into the Unknown is her first realization that she can't just sit by in the kingdom. She needs to get out there into the world and get the answers.
What I love about this song is she starts off saying, I hear you, but I'm not gonna. I don't wanna listen. I don't want you to talk to me. I have my family, I'm fine. She can't help herself, and it's this wonderful tug of war. And it ends with a surrendering on the edge of a cliff, on the tip of a sheet of ice, going, I'll go wherever you want me to go, show me. And that evolution in the song is the beginning. It's the catalyst of change. And in accepting that voice and saying, I'll come with you, the forest wakes up.
What's so brilliant about the song in this one, without giving too much away, is that it sort of flips that idea on its head a little bit. And now he's starting to recognize that there are dangers, but he's also trying to keep the dangers at bay by reminding himself, maybe this isn't as bad as I think it is, and maybe when I'm older, this'll all make a little bit more sense. And I loved that idea because comedically, it is sort of the inverse of his attitude in the first film.
For anyone who's experienced a hardship or trauma or is flat on the floor and feels they can't pick themselves back up, the only practical application to rejoin the human race is to just do the next right thing. Sometimes that's just get out of bed, just put your clothes on, just brush your teeth. You only have to do one thing in that moment, and it's sung when Anna is at her absolute lowest. It's a really sad, dark moment of the film. And she is reminded of this mantra that will get her back to eventually save the day.
It's a couple years later, and it's a wonderful way to parallel sort of everyone that's growing up with the movie, because the girls are growing up as well. And the story is deepened and enriched, and I guess their curiosity and their lessons that they're learning are a little bit more challenging, and the choices they have to make in life are a little bit tougher, and there's tons of adventure. It's exciting and suspenseful, but most of it lies in the heart of this family and these two sisters and their loyalty to one another and how they would do anything for each other.
Frozen 2 takes place in Arendelle, which is where the first movie took place, and everything seems to be going well in Arendelle, but then Elsa hears this voice that's calling her out of the walls of the city. And our characters from the first movie go on a journey and an adventure together to discover information about Elsa and Anna's past.
To say that this movie is ambitious is a big understatement. It's a continuation of a journey that I think is important to a lot of people, one that builds not only on the story that everyone fell in love with, but one that deepens and enriches all of the characters and introduces new characters that I think are going to become as iconic as Anna, Elsa, Kristoff, Sven, and Olaf.
So Frozen 2, we do start with a really interesting prologue where you'll see a side of Anna and Elsa's parents you've never seen before, and you'll learn for the first time about a fallen enchanted forest, and the worry if that should ever wake again. And then we join our group today, and they are on the cusp of a different part of adulthood. They're in their early 20s. They're very happy, but something is starting to gnaw at Elsa. And in doing so, they realize that change is coming. So really this film is about coping with change. There's a mystery to uncover, a mystery that may reveal where Elsa's powers come from, but also jeopardize her. And so this family fights very hard to hold on to each other through that change.
There's a universal question about, like, where do I fit in the world, you know? I think for Elsa in particular, having these magical powers and sort of being the other amongst her people of Arendelle, and powerful and strong, but also looking for community that sort of reflects what it is that she brings to the table. There's a sort of excavation of the past and how your past sort of informs who you are in the present.
I guess you could say, like in the first movie, she had these powers that she felt were too much, and they were scaring people and hurting people. She was trying to figure out how to harness them. And in this film, she's needs to test them to see if they are enough to save her people and her kingdom. And so she sort of has to step into them even more. And she goes on this incredible journey and this quest with her family to sort of unleash and discover the origins of her powers.
Because we will go back in the past and see their parents and sort of their parents' influence on them and how that, you know, shapes them into the people that they are right now. And then in terms of just like having to make decisions that go against the grain. I think both Elsa and Anna have to make decisions in the course of the film that are seemingly unpopular, but they follow their truth. And when you know, when your soul tells you, you can't go against that. You have to listen.
Sterling plays General Matthias, who is a character we run across when we walk sort of into the unknown, into the forest of the North Eldra. And he is this estranged army general in the Arendellian army that hasn't heard from anyone in Arendelle in a while. He's been on his own for a long, long time, so he has a lot of funny quirks, but it turns out he was very, very good friends with our father, and he also shares with us a ton about our family that we needed to learn.
Folks have been stuck for 30 years in this forest with a desire to get home, with a desire to return to Arendelle, and whatever they try has been unsuccessful. So then the queen comes along with the princess and their merry band of misfits. And for some reason, like, they're the first people that have been able to penetrate this fog. So that means if there's a way in, then obviously there must be a way out. Hopefully we'll figure it out.
One of the characters that they developed is Queen Iduna, who you see in a lot of flashbacks in the movie, this guiding force of the mother in their life, who holds all these secrets about why Elsa and Anna are the way they are.
Iduna is a very protective mother. She's very intuitive, very sensitive, and I think you sort of see why Anna and Elsa love to sing so much. I think that's one of the things you'll see in the opening of the film, this beautiful lullaby that sort of sets up the story. And I always loved it because it gave me the impression that, Iduna sang to them and left such an impression on them.
To see Iduna, their mother, come to life in this film, and to have so much to bring, someone who's passed away and that we thought we only knew very little, that's been thrilling.
I remember when they were casting for Queen Iduna, hearing when Evan was cast, Jen Lee, our director, told me that of all the people that they saw, because we're all the same age, but she has to play our mother, she was the only voice that still somehow, even though we're all the same age, sounded maternal towards Elsa and Anna and Idina's voice and I think her voice fits in seamlessly.
Looking for Anna and Elsa's mother was it was a big process, and Evan came in and she had such a warmth but maturity, and she brought with it understanding of someone who'd been through a lot. And even with saying so little at times, it resonated, and she had the most beautiful singing voice. And she's a mom, and bringing that lullaby, nurturing quality to this song was amazing.
Second film, you start to understand more about Anna and Elsa's mother, Iduna, and her past, and you realize she has some secrets of her own, and she has some magic of her own, and her childhood and her upbringing may carry some clues as to Elsa's powers and also the conflict.
It's a much bigger world than you're used to, and everything is a little bit more grown up. It's still very kid appropriate, but this movie has grown with its audience. So kids that were 5 years old and are 11 now, or were 10 and are 16 now, these characters have developed like they have, and they're experiencing new things. And I think the movie growing with the audience is going to be a reason that they will like it.
It's a really epic story, like the first one. But again, I think this one just expands. And I think Anna and Elsa are growing with the fans, because if you're a returning fan, you know, you may have watched it when you were young and now you've grown a bit, and I think the characters have sort of grown with you and the story's growing, which I think is cool. And there'll be a lot of laughs, a lot of amazing songs. You may shed a tear or two, but I think you're really in for an epic adventure.
What makes this adventure in Frozen 2 exciting, I feel like there's two things. The first thing is we're going outside of Arendelle and exploring some larger, bigger, more elemental themes, as opposed to just in this sort of like small community of Arendelle. So the world is expansive. And then at the same time, all these characters were just meeting for the first time in the first movie, and now they really know each other. And so you're getting to see relationships deepen and grow and become more complicated and more interesting.
It's jam-packed with action. Like it's very kinetic. Like it constantly moves forward. You get the laughs that you're accustomed to. You get the heart that you always get from a Disney flick. But it's almost like an adventure film, which I really appreciate about this whole thing.
This movie is truly an action adventure film, and I think that that's the part that is going to blow people's minds. Is it is funny, it is so beautiful, like stunningly beautiful, but at the same time, it's also an edge of your seat kind of movie where you don't know what's lurking around every corner.
What I hope for fans like who've seen the original coming in is it won't be what you expect. It will surprise you, but hopefully in good ways. But it will be the characters you expect. It will be Frozen. You won't feel like you've walked into a different journey. You'll feel the story growing. You'll feel things getting bigger. You feel the stakes getting bigger. You feel the emotion of these characters getting more powerful. And the family bond that they have feeling more powerful than ever. And as they go through, you know, sort of the struggles of life, I hope there's some inspirational messages in there on how to go through those things. I love that Anna always shows us how to never give up, and Elsa always shows us how to reach beyond our potential.